Happy Medium Jodi Levon is a crowd favorite, and today we're putting Jodi in the hot seat.
We are asking her some of your questions from Facebook and from our audience, so we want to welcome her back. Let's hear it for our Happy Medium Jodi Levon.
Hi, Jodi.
So nice to have you here. All right, this is Ask Jodi Anything.
Ask Jodi Anything, and we're going to start with our audience since we have an audience here today. Michael, who do we have out there?
It's actually Britt.
hi,
Hi,
Britt.
you guys. So I'm with Pam from St. Paul. Pam, what is your question for Jodi?
How do you feel about the presence of guardian angels, like in the backseat of your car when you're driving?
Oh, good question.
Guardian angels are with us always. Awesome question. They are with us always. While we're driving, while we're biking, while we're giving birth especially.
That's a tough one.
While we're cooking, if it's me. They're always with us, and you can feel, sometimes you'll see little sparkles in the air. Sometimes you just feel like there's a calming presence. I've done readings on people where somebody was in an accident and there was a car parked right on a railroad track and somebody took their foot and slammed it on the gas and made it move. And the guy was partially conscious and he remembered it. That's called angel work.
Wow.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Very intriguing.
Okay, we have some other questions that came through on our social media, so let's ask this one. This is from Cheryl. She asks, can spirits activate a smoke alarm? Ours went off on September 4th at 2:11 a.m., exactly 37 years ago to when my mom died.
Gosh.
Awesome work on that spirit's part. Yes,
Really?
they absolutely can do that, and they do that. Lots of things with electronics, that's a really good sign. That person must have been very open to energy that received that message. I know a spirit who, when you're leaving their house, the spirit does something with the alarm that says, bye now. Nobody touches it, it just says, bye now.
Oh, how Minnesotan?
Yeah,
It's in Ireland. It's in Ireland, happened in Ireland.
Oh, is that
that's
right?
really interesting. Okay, so is it happening, I mean, are some spirits better at doing this than others?
It's something I believe they have to learn how to do, yes, but they can manipulate electronic anything. That's their biggest thing they can do. That's why, you know, when I've done ghost investigations, the batteries get drained really fast.
Yeah.
They like that energy. Spirits like that energy. That's how they get their energy.
Very intriguing. Okay, let's go on to another one. This is from Cindy, all right?
Yes.
Jodi, what kind of self-care activities do you do to keep yourself well grounded, and how important is self-care to your practice? This is something I know, because I know you, has been an evolution for you, something that you were maybe not so good at when you were younger. Okay,
Horrible.
I said not so good, you went horrible.
Horrible, she went
And then
full
you've
tilt.
gotten better.
And it's still a process. Like I'm working on it every day. Those basics about enough fresh air, good fresh water, really good food. I walk on the grass when I can.
Earthing.
Very much, very much. Or if it's cold outside, I'll still stand outside under the moon. That gives me a lot of energy. And another thing I do that's very grounding is I watch my thoughts. And I have to make sure that I'm saying nice things to myself. And I know we've talked about this, but that's a very grounding thing, and it's very cleansing if you make sure that you're nice to yourself.
Well, what's interesting about this is that I think a lot of people can relate to you, and I'm going to do a little analysis of you, of the thing that makes you stand out the most, and the thing that can be your greatest gift can be when you're younger. When you're younger, the thing that makes you feel the most not like anybody else. And so it's the thing you're the most insecure about. So I feel like a lot of us are always trying to overcompensate for the thing that maybe made us stand out when we were younger, that we felt like, we're not ready for that attention. But that's an interesting thing, where then you have to always be telling yourself this is a really good thing, because it was hard at the beginning to deal with that.
I've made it a good thing. There are a lot of people who are quite unhappy because they're so empathic, they're picking things up that aren't theirs.
Okay.
But you know, that kind of speaks to the fact that we can speak meaning into, we can assign meaning to a whole bunch of things in our life, be it an insecurity, an interaction that we had. And often our tendency is like we write a negative script about that thing.
Exactly, and we repeat it over and over and over in our head, and when we rewrite it, everything changes.
All right, I've got another question here, and this is from Terry, and she writes, my sister died of malaria, although all of her docs said that she would pull through. She was alone when she died. My question is, was she afraid?
No, because she wasn't alone. We're never alone when we die. Everybody that we've loved that died before us, they're right there. They're helping coax us over all of the time. Nobody's ever alone when they die. There's always those on the other side. There's angels to help you. She wasn't afraid at all, and she wasn't as surprised as you might think.
So many people are afraid of death. I mean, that's like, well, number one, they're afraid of public speaking, but then after that, they're afraid of death,
number two is
right?
death,
Then
yes.
they're afraid.
Maybe they'll prefer death.
Yeah, then they're afraid of death. And do you think that we waste a lot of time being afraid of that because everybody's going to have to do it at some point.
And it's an unknown, but if we feel more peaceful about it and just know that there are going to be people there waiting for us, we can live more boldly. We don't have to be afraid at all. If that's our biggest fear, take that one off the list. It's going to be fine. We'll be in the hands of God.
Yeah, you can just continue to be more afraid of getting up in front of a bunch of people and talking to them.
Brene Brown said, I'll paraphrase, but she said that we waste all this time preparing or rehearsing for tragedy. Oh, what's going to happen? How will I react if this happens, this happens? And we think that it's actually better preparing ourselves when in reality, A, it doesn't, and B, it robs you of the present joy that you have with that person that you're rehearsing for. Oh goodness, what if they die someday?
Yeah.
Exactly.
How
And
do
then
we
it
stay in
changes
this
how
moment?
we respond to them too, because we're believing the story we're telling ourselves.
Right.
If we stop believing that story, our life is more fun.
I think we get a lot of that happens when you become a parent, is when you're
Yeah.
constantly like, okay, well, what now? I know what it feels like to love something so much bigger than anything I've ever loved before. And then you're constantly thinking, well, what would happen if that would be taken away from me?
Right. And then you infuse it into your children, and then they, could need some therapy.
Yeah.
Not mine, but I did.
Jodi, thank
Jodi,
you
this
so
is
much.
really
Thanks
good.
for coming
Thank
through.
you. Ask Jodi anything, huh?
You can join Jodi at her next event. It is called The Happy Medium. It's in Champlin on October 24th at 6:30 p.m. You can go to TwinCitiesLive.com for more info on how to buy tickets.
A